Well, hi there. My name is Patricia J. Parsons, and welcome to my little atelier in downtown Toronto. Thank you for joining me as I launch my latest book, Kat's Cosmic Blues. I've been writing books for a very long time, and it is always a thrill every time I have a new one to share with the world. This new book, Kat's Cosmic Blues, is the prequel to my most recent novel, The Year I Made 12 Dresses, where we first met Charlie. If you read 12 Dresses, you'll know Charlie, Charlotte Hudson. After her mother's unexpected death, Charlie, a struggling writer, moved back into her childhood home to empty it of a life of memories and to ready it for sale. Now, when Charlie stumbled on a dusty old sewing machine hidden away among the clutter of detritus in the basement, she had no idea of the journey it would take her on, or of the secrets it might reveal about her mother, her family, and herself. But if Charlie thought she had learned everything there was to know about her mother, she was very wrong. Katherine Hudson, Kat Hudson, her mom, had a lot more to tell her. I wrote Kat's Cosmic Blues so that Kat could tell her story. Do you have any idea who your mother was before she was your mother? Not a chance. I know for sure my daughters had no idea who I was until it was too late. My grandmother once told me that my life wasn't going to be about finding myself. It would be about creating myself. And the day my father refused to let me follow my passions to art school was the day I knew I'd have to listen to my Nan. My name is Katherine Hudson, and my story begins in 1965. Remember the 1960s? The swinging 60s? If you're too young, then let me enlighten you. Wow, what a decade. It was the decade when everything changed, everything. It was about drugs and sex and rock and roll. It was about flower power, mop tops, and groovy experiences, man. It was also about the big downers, the war in Vietnam and race riots. It was about women's liberation and out-of-sight fashion. Fashion? Yes. The 60s started with Wilhelmina and gloves and hats, and ended with miniskirts and knee socks and Twiggy. And that's where I wanted my life to go. I wanted to create the most beautiful clothes in the world. I wanted my designs splashed across the pages of fashion magazines. Well, this small-town girl's life really began the minute she walked into that smoke-filled coffee house in Toronto, and there on the stage was Joni Mitchell. That was when I knew I'd have to find a way to get to New York, the Big Apple, the center of the universe, the greatest city in the world. And I did. But something changed in me when I met someone at Woodstock, not just anyone, and she told me that my life would only ever be as much as I was willing to settle for. So I made plans. But here was another thing my grandmother told me. If you want to make God laugh, tell her your plans. I think I'll be getting some kind of award for making God laugh so much. Come along with me on my journey. Together, we can learn that designing the life you want might be harder than you think. Well, like Charlie and Kat, I love design and I love sewing. But more than anything, I love telling stories, and telling stories about strong women who learn as they go through their lives, as they go through their journeys, which is what these books are all about. And both Kat and Charlie and other characters in the books have learned something that George Bernard Shaw said a long time ago, that life is not about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself. Before I go, there's one more thing that you need to know about Kat. She loved music, and music plays a big role in her story through the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. You can find her playlist at Spotify or on Apple Music and really begin to get into the groove before you start reading the book. Well, I hope you'll join Kat on her journey, and you'll join me on my journey as a writer. Kat's Cosmic Blues is ready for you now, and you can find it at your favorite online bookstore. And when you've finished reading that book, come on back and we'll talk about her grandmother. It all starts in 1965.